Greetings, you old decrepit grapplers. I imagine if you're watching these, the headline's probably something with older guys. I'm sure you guys are watching this as older grapplers, but here's a question I got today. I got a question from a guy named Scott, who basically is in a gym. It's a no-gi gym, which is why we're going to be no-gi today, where he's rolling with a lot of young, tough guys. Now, there's some older fellas like him too, but there's a lot of younger guys in the gym. And he's telling me that a lot of times these guys are doing, a lot of the back and forth, standing passing. They're disconnecting from a lot of outside passing, and he's getting exhausted, getting into these scrambles where he's trying to chase these guys down, and was looking for some tips from yours bearded about how to deal with these young, fast grapplers. And so I'm going to give you 3 different ideas today to chew on, Scott, and anyone else that's a little bit older, on how to either slow things down, direct how they can move a little bit so you don't get as exhausted, or how to give ground a little bit sometimes so you don't get exhausted in the scrambles. And hopefully this is useful to you. Let's jump into this video. All right, guys, so here's kind of the situation as I see it. Scott, is basically you're here, you're in an open guard, this person's standing, and you're doing this thing where they do this, boom, and then you're running around, right? And you get these young people that are just running around you, and you're old, your gas tank's getting worse, your recovery's gone. If you have a bad night of sleep, man, you're getting older, you can't do anything on the mat the next. I'm just kidding, guys. Just it is what it is. I'm the same way. So for instance, with some of the young guys that I have in the gym, and even guys like Brandon who will visit on a regular basis, it's I can't get into those dog fights with them scrambling back and forth. So here's tip number 1. Okay, I know it's throwing out all the old man jokes, but hey, we can have fun with it because I'm one of you. I'm 40 now, so I get to be I'm not super old, but I'm getting there. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to funnel them to one side. So I don't want this person to be able to dictate the side that we're on, right? This was one of the things where the last time me and Brandon were rolling, just as an example, I was talking to him about this because he's a great example of a guy who will pass back and forth and wear my old ass out a little bit. And so what I'll do is I will stay like this and open up to a side. So if let's say I'm rolling with Marvin here, and Marvin's down, his butt's back, he's getting ready to move on me. If I'm sitting straight up, I get into this game. Now, yes, I can start to hook, I can go shin to shin. There are times to be in a square position. But the issue is that if he's doing this back and forth stuff on me, that means that I'm going to be doing this, and that's going to be a problem. So what I want to do instead is I want to basically say I want to funnel him to my best side. So for me, as an example, we'll say that I want to play half guard or butterfly guard with my left arm top. That's pretty common for most people. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit my hip down, and I'm going to open my hip way up. Because if you want to think about it, for him to be effective to pass, he's got to be on the outside of my knee here. If he's on the outside of my knee, now this is going to force me to have to go back. Bad position for me, right? But if he starts to step this way, as long as my knee, this imaginary line that's pointing out for my knee, as long as it's here, he's within this range. So he's going to have to pass his direction. This is going to be the side that he can go to, right? Now, why is that important? Well, I don't want to have to play both sides. I don't want to be playing the back and forth game. I'm going to stay like this. So this way, you're kind of making it easier and sort of encouraging them to come down to your best side so that you have a fighting chance. Now, he may do it standing, he may be kneeling. We'll talk about what we can do if he's standing and everything else, but we want to be here. We want to be on our side, and this way we're funneling him to our best side rather than us playing this back and forth chase and scrambling game. All right, another option for you, Scott, or another thing to consider is that we want to try to keep our arms and legs in close, and we want to try to make some connection with the person. What I mean by this is I'll see sometimes where people on the bottom will start sort of reaching out. So let's say that Marvin's, he's in a stance here, he's getting ready to try to pass, and this person's reaching out super far. I'm not so much worried about the grip so much, but what I'm worried about is now my body's reaching out, it's easier for him to cut those angles on me. Okay, versus in most cases, what's going to happen is, so if I'm here, my feet are in close, my arms are in close. This is going to make him is going to require him to start reaching out for me, right? Which then gives me grips that I can latch onto. Typically, for me, you've got your 2-on-1 on the arm here. You can use this way. You can go this way. Wrist, elbow. Any of these are going to be nice to get some sort of attachment to the person. Also, very effective is getting a shin to shin. Most of the time when I go for a shin to shin here is, we're here in this position, I'll lean forward and get a bite with the back of the knee with my hand, almost like as if I was shooting like a fireman's, kind of that same idea. You're reaching with his hand. And I do this for a couple reasons, right? If I get here, a lot of times their instinct is to pull, and it allows me to stay in. Also, too, if I reach out here like this sometimes, if I grab like this, they can typically bring their leg out here, and that means we got to scramble, versus if I go here, he can start pulling his foot out this way, and it leads right into the other hand, and then I can get into the shin to shin. Let's turn this other direction here for me, Marvin. So again, we're in our position here. We're moving around. He's basing, or moving around, keeping his base low. You know, he's doing all this different stuff. We're keeping our arms in. When we're ready to go, pull, shin to shin, which then gives us a lot of options to break him down and do different stuff that we might want to do. It gives me some attachment point to him. You know, but even then, if my elbows are inside, and I've even seen guys where they'll fold their legs on the inside, you know, if you get some guy that's like flipping you back, grab my legs, whoop, like right here, we can get like this. Because what is this going to have to do? He's going to have to get in there and reach to grab a hold of something. He might start collar tying you. He might... That allows us to then get grips and then work some sort of connection to the person. So again, be very cautious with your arms. Try not to overreach too much. If you do for a second, we want to immediately get tight as quickly as we can. And again, keep our legs and everything in tight so this person has to reach out, which makes it easier to get a connection to them. And once we get a connection to them, it's a little bit harder for them to just bounce side to side on us. All right, guys, so here is the last one I'll give you. This is really important, and this is one of the hardest ones for older guys to get, especially if you're an older grappler and you used to be younger, and you remember just being able to have that endless gas tank that you had maybe in your 20s or early 30s, and then as you're getting into your 40s and 50s, you're like, man, where is it? And that is you're going to give ground, right? You're going to make a sort of a tactical retreat. You're saying that you're losing this position, let's let them come in, but let's be very intelligent about how we do it and get ready for the next position. So, you know, let's say that we're in this situation. Marvin will come over to this side here. And I know that I'm losing this spot. Let's say he's doing, go do a hip pin here. Yeah, here we go. And he starts coming down, and he just got done bouncing side to side. I'm not gonna come back to you right there. I'm gonna make this thing where instead of trying to start fighting this and scrambling even more, I'm gonna say, you know what? All right, let's go in. Now, for me, there's different ways to go for it, but one of my favorites is the iron squirrel. So he starts going in chest to chest. I'm gonna protect against the cross face, and I'm gonna protect, raise up a little bit, against the underhook. He doesn't get these two things, doesn't have much of a side control. Now, we've given ground to this person. What this does, though, is this allows me to get an attachment to his body. So now I can get, we talked about a second ago, to get to a connection on the person. Well, now he's close enough where I can start to get my hand in here, even start to get to like a half guard position down here, or even maybe work to a butterfly position. So, you know, stand up for me, Marvin. If I'm here with a guy and he's going back and forth, and I'm here, boom, I'm losing the battle. Let's retract everything back, bring out in our arms and elbows and everything else to try to stop him from getting us really flattened out. Right? But then when he tries to go chest to chest, you can then start looking for positions like a half guard where we hook the leg, or even start to work back into a butterfly guard of some sort, because the person never actually got you into a fully flattened out side control position where you're pinned, right? So again, you may play a different game than me, but the basic idea is still there. If the person comes down to you, you're going to be able to get some sort of connection to them. And it may be advantageous for you to try and escape from a well-defended position rather than chasing them down from this open guard position when they're bouncing back and forth. Now, is this going to be the best game to play if you're in a competition? Well, hell no, it's not, because you're losing points. But at the same time, you're never going to compete against those guys at that age anyway, right? So if he was a person of your same age, whatever, probably not going to have the same problem. This is most likely in a situation where you just got to be honest with yourself. They're young. Youth is a superpower that we're all gifted with, at least for a little bit, and then we lose it. And when we lose it, we just have to adjust the way that we train and the way that we roll. And when you're up against those younger guys, sometimes the smart move is to be smart, retreat back into a better defensible position that takes away that bouncing back and forth, that scrambling nature, gets them a little closer where you can get a connection to them and then work from there. And so that's something that I have to use a lot when I'm up against people that are very fast. I just have to give a little ground that I didn't used to have to give up when I was younger, but now I got to do it. And, you know, you just have to adjust as you get older. So guys, hopefully this helps you out. And Scott, hopefully this was useful to you. Again, I know that some of this is just very basic stuff. But some of this stuff is the stuff that helps out the most. It's not a specific technique necessarily. It's more of a thought process for keeping the person onto one side, picking your battles, and making sure that you're really trying to win that grip battle, that grip fighting battle, hand fighting battle. Those are some of the most important things, at least for me, whenever I roll with younger people. When I get behind the hand fighting battle, when I let them dictate going back and forth, and when I try to stop them from ever getting any sort of position like side control or whatever, for me, a lot of times that leads to me being pooped out afterwards. And maybe there's a time for that, but if you're rolling in a room where you've got just all around you just a bunch of young killers, you want to maybe implement some strategies where you can preserve your gas tank. So hopefully that helps you, brother. And thanks for the question. Talk to you guys next time.